Stephen A. said the matchup is set. Good morning, everyone. Welcome into First Take. Thank you for being with us on this Feel Good Friday. Kendrick, Perkins, Brian Windhorst, Stephen A. Smith. I'm Molly Qerim. Hi, everybody.
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing?
Amazing. Let's get right into it, guys. Western Conference Finals MVP Luka Doncic and the Mavericks buried the Wolves 124-103 last night to reach the NBA Finals. Doncic scored 21 of his 36 points in the first quarter, and Dallas built a 29-point halftime lead, the largest at the break by a team that had a chance to clinch a finals trip in NBA history. Luka is special, that's for sure.
Man, I was enjoying it just like everyone else was. He had 20 points, I think, in like 6 minutes or 7 minutes, and you're just watching a special performance take place.
It's a good feeling, man. I can't lie. Just go out there, and it's us against them. Just stay together. But that feeling is great.
Where he took the crowd out of the game right off the bat. And he let his teammates know that it's time, that we got to take it up a notch. As a leader, that's what you need on the road against a very talented team to let them know that it was going to be hard tonight, and he definitely did that.
Stephen A., how impressive was Luka's performance?
Oh, it was a sensational performance. It was the kind of performance that comes associated with all-time greatness. It's one for the books. We're never going to forget what we saw in the Western Conference Finals from Luka last night. There's no question about it, because let's call it what it is. You start the series off with Anthony Edwards mistakenly calling out, just making a big-time mistake by calling out Kyrie Irving, basically saying, I got him, okay? So, you have to pay for that early in Game 1 when Kyrie came out ultra-aggressive and took it to him. But, they learn from the error of their ways. They down 0-3. They come back. They win Game 4. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns show up. And you were expecting them to come out energized and ready to go. But then I knew there was cause to pause and there was a reason for trepidation, because that damn Jaden McDaniels opened his mouth talking about how they could win 3 straight and all of this other stuff, and, how Luka really didn't do anything special. And then Luka went out and bust their living ass. That's really what happened. We gonna call this what it is. That was an ass whipping right there. He had 12 points in the first 2 minutes and 53 seconds of the game. He had 12 points, okay? He outscored Minnesota by himself in the first quarter. He turns around, takes a break, and then Kyrie says, it's my turn, and then goes 5 for 5 in the second quarter and giving it to him. And, the game was over. It was an embarrassment. It was a disgraceful performance by the Minnesota Timberwolves, but it was also an annihilation by the Dallas Mavericks, courtesy of their 2 superstars in Luka Doncic and obviously Kyrie Irving. Luka was sensational. We're going to look at him, particularly if he wins the championship, and we're going to probably be calling him the best player in the world, because he will have closed. I heard Kendrick Perkins earlier talking about you got to close first, and I completely agree with him, because Jokic closed first, Giannis closed first. The same is applicable to Luka. But if Luka ends up closing the deal, and it's a good possibility he can do it, we're going to look at last night's performance and how he was looking at Minnesota's bench, y'all, talking smack to them while he was busting their ass, man. Talking to them, looking at them, screaming at them, calling them out on the court. This ain't after the game. This ain't before. This is while he was giving it to them, and literally snatched their hearts out their chest. When you talk about the greatness of the Kobes, the MJs, and people like that, when you talk about what we were seeing from Anthony Edwards against Phoenix, against Denver, we saw that last night on another level from Luka Doncic. There's no denying it.
I agree. Look, that was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in NBA history. And here's why. It's not what he did, it's how he did it. And Stephen A. just talked about this point where not only was he giving them that work, but he was talking to them while he was doing it. And he wasn't calling them good names, right? He was going at them people. So when I think about franchise players and I think about the people that I play with, this was a Kevin Garnett type mentality that Luka has, right? Where you're watching him I used to watch KG and I used to say, man, what is wrong with you before the game when he's talking to himself saying, oh, you talking about me? I don't like you. And I'm like, who are you talking to? He's finding ways to get himself going where he's like, you know what? I don't like them. I don't like the people in the stands. I don't like the people that serving beer. I embrace this atmosphere of being the villain, and I'm going to walk into your house. I'm going to walk into your house. I'm going to have muddy shoes on. I'm going to kick my feet up on your coffee table, and you're not going to do anything about it. This is what Luka Doncic is doing to not only the Minnesota Timberwolves, but to the rest of the league. And he's letting you know about it, and he's daring somebody to say something or do something about it, because that's going to bring the best out of him. Again, I don't want to jump to conclusions and say he's the best player in the league, because I said it earlier on Get Up, I'm saying it now. He has to complete the mission. But I will say, when it comes to being the best offensive player in the NBA, that is Luka. There's no stopping him whatsoever.
In Minneapolis, what it was like yesterday, okay? It was a beautiful day. Spring is here. All the leaves are out. This is what you wait for in Minnesota for all the winter months, okay? The Wolves are 3-0 this year in elimination games, all right? The last time they played an elimination game here in Minnesota, they beat the Nuggets by 45 points, okay? Hey, Chris Finch makes this brilliant adjustment to put Ant Edwards on Luka Doncic. Luka doesn't handle it real well in Game 4. For 2 days, everybody, including me, is going, maybe this switch has something going. Everybody shows up in white. Molly, there was some men wearing white jeans last night that really shouldn't have been doing it, but they were so excited about it. They already had their plans for the weekend, okay? Saturday, all day was going to be at the pool, was going to be at the lake house, and Saturday night they were going to watch the Wolves go into Dallas and play for the series in Game 6, okay? That's what Luka walked into. And 5 or 8 minutes into that game, when he hit that 4th three-pointer, and Minnesota had to call another timeout, and he already had 17 points, and Minnesota only had 8 as a team, and he was screaming. The only sound in that building was Luka screaming. They didn't even have the music ready. It was just quiet. It was Luka screaming. I'm telling you, I know people make fun of me because I always bring up LeBron James, but that's my frame of reference. I was transported back to that night in Boston Garden in 2012 when the Heat were down 3-2 in that series. LeBron was on the chopping block for maybe losing again. And the first quarter, Stephen A., you remember, LeBron killed him with those jump shots. I don't remember how many he had. He had like 20, but it was basically over in the first quarter. Yep. That's what Luka did. He broke them. He broke the fans. He broke the game operations. He broke the spirit, and he broke everybody's plans on Saturday night. He did it all, and he did it in no time, and man, was it amazing to watch.
Well, Wendy, I love that story. Let me piggyback off of that for 2 of my brothers that I love talking basketball with and break down the significance of Luka and how different it was from LeBron despite the similarities you just touched on. LeBron at that time had failed to have won a championship. He was knocking on the door. Nobody expected him to beat the Spurs, but the year earlier, there was no excuse for losing to the Dallas Mavericks. You had essentially choked in the 4th quarter of those games. When JJ, no disrespect, but here's the bottom line. LeBron James is a 6'9", at the time, 250-pound mammoth of a man. He's probably a little bit bigger now. All right? You do not allow a J.J. Barea or a Jason Terry to be guarding you in the post. But that's what he did, okay? So that's what happened to him in those games. And coming off of losing in that NBA Finals, I would refresh your memory. The following All-Star weekend, if I remember correctly, was when he had the ball in his hands. It's an exhibition game. And you're having fun. And Kobe is guarding you. And this man decides to throw the ball in the corner to Carmelo and turns the ball over to the point where Carmelo, Kobe, and D. Wade all walked over to get in his face. What you pass the ball for? What's the matter with you? Take that shot. Because it was an exhibition game. What is your problem? He was that mentally warped. So then he goes into Boston. and he looks like a man possessed. So you got all of these demons, the choking, the being scared, and all of the stuff that he was being accused of. And he had to overcome those demons. That ain't Luka. Luka's proven a long time ago he don't have that problem. He's proven a long time ago he's a closer. His attitude was different. His attitude was different, Big Perk. Luka went in there and he heard what Jaden McDaniels said. He heard what Anthony Edwards said before the season. He heard Minnesota chirping like y'all had done something. And he said, yo, we up 3-0. We had a mulligan. Y'all got us in game 4. You escaped with that one. And now y'all chirping like this. Yo, Kai, I'm going to give you yours, but I need you to move out the way. PJ and Gafford and Lotta, y'all, I need y'all to move out the way. I'm going to bust these boys' ass right here, right now. I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to humble them. I'm going to ruin their entire offseason because I'm going to leave them with a memory they ain't going to be able to shake the entire offseason because they opened their damn mouths. That's the difference between what LeBron said, or LeBron did rather, and what Luka did last night. Do you agree?
I do.
Oh, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And here's the best thing about Luka. He's trying to bring opponents pain. He wants you to feel pain. He wants to tell you about it, and he wants you to feel it. He wants you to lose sleep at night. They're going to remember. Look, Minnesota had a successful season. I was wrong. I thought Minnesota was going to win Game 5 in great fashion, and they were heading back to Dallas for a Game 6. Luka stood on business and did exactly what a franchise guy, a guy that's getting paid big bucks, supposed to do. Come into that game on the road and set the tone. I mean, look, I was sitting there and I couldn't even say nothing when I was watching the game last night. I was speechless. Literally, I was speechless. And I was in awe. I just had to applaud him. He made Minnesota tap out. He made them tap out. He made them start doing uncharacteristic type things. He started making them play selfish basketball because they was trying to get back into the game. They just have zero answers. They had a zero answer for Luka. Nobody in the league could stop Luka.
Yep.
The only person that could stop Luka is Luka.
Absolutely. And I'll leave you guys with this. Luka's the first player in postseason history to lead the playoffs in points, rebounds, and assists entering the finals.